one of our other podcasts that we are here at with Fpea, the homeschool convention. We are so excited to be here and talking to incredible influencers and just incredible people. And we have an amazing man with us today, Randy Osborne, who is the president of Florida Eagle Forum. And so I just thank you, Randy, for joining us today. We tried this earlier, but the bells were going off and the alarm, I guess some young person pulled the alarm. But anyway, thanks for joining us, Randy, and thanks for what you do. And I'd love for you to tell our audience, what is it that you do with Florida Eagle Forum? Mm-hmm. How did you get involved? And just really, I want to also know, how can our audience get involved with what you do,
right,
that kind of thing.
Well, Florida Eagle Forum is a national organization that was started by Phyllis Schlafly, in fact, 1972, so it's about 51 years old now. And what she did is she was basically a stay-at-home mom, and found a need to try to stop a really, really bad movement called the ERA, or Equal Rights Amendment. And a lot of that battle was actually here in the state of Florida. But the Eagle Forum is also known as getting the pro-life plank on the Republican platform. So there's a lot of things that Eagle Forum has done over the years. It's a national organization. Several years ago, I was approached. I was actually invited to a dinner, Eagle Forum dinner, and I went to it here in Naples, Florida. And I was approached by Phyllis Schlafly. She'd asked me to, if I would lobby against Common Core. And what her statement was is, I want you, and when Phyllis talks, even though you may not know her, you are compelled to do what she's asked you to do. So she said, I want you to make Common Core toxic. And I thought, well, I don't know anything about Common Core. It sounds pretty common to me. So, in finding out some of the things and some of the serious issues that Common Core had, I got involved in it. And through the years, got a lot of battle scars by even our own party. Yes. But as a result of that, we were able to defeat it. It took us a new governor to defeat it, but we were able to do that. So that's how I kind of got started in it. There was a president here in Florida that had some major sicknesses going on, and so they came to me, the board came to me and asked me if I would take over the helm of Eagle Forum and be the president of Florida. So I thought about it, I told him I'd pray about it, and what's ironic about it is Eagle Forum is it doesn't claim to be a women's organization, kind of like, this is
women impacting the nation. We are women. It says women,
does say
but we
women.
Never forget our men.
But you could take the WO off and it would be men, right?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So anyway, on Eagle Forum, what we did is I ended up taking over the organization here in Florida, and we are involved in a lot of educational issues, fighting with the public school systems, trying to stop some of the propaganda, the indoctrination that's going on in our public school system. And we're also trying to facilitate kids getting out of public education. We're trying to help families and show them how that there is an avenue, especially in the recent legislation that's happened this past year, on how to get out of public education, how to get into homeschool, hybrid, private school, Christian school, whatever the case may be. We're trying to do our best to show parents that the education of our children is the future of our nation. And we have failed in that, I believe, and we're really, really working hard to try to help that.
Oh, that's awesome. And we there's two things that I wanted to go through too, because we talked about the three values. We talked about it on your podcast about the three core values that we really need to be focused on. And I'll let you say it, because you made me say it on your podcast. I'm going to let you. What are your three kind of non-negotiables with God? God's non-negotiables, not ours.
Right. It's very interesting. And we had the same, when you talked about this, I thought, wait, she either stole my sermon. I don't know how she did that, because this was a God thing. What I did is I just really burdened for our nation, and that's, I guess, the best way to put it. And as a result of that, I just sat down one day, and I speak in a lot of churches. I've spoken in over 300 churches here in Florida, and I was just really burdened about that. And I thought, there's all kinds of attacks we're getting. I mean, there's all kinds. But I thought, what are the deal breakers to God? What are the deal breakers? So I actually went back to Scripture, and I started going through Scripture, and I said, whoa, okay, God is really serious about life. He's very, very serious about that. In fact, he has destroyed nations over that issue. And I thought, okay, life is important to God. And I kept looking, and I thought, marriage is important to God. Marriage is extremely important to God. It's between a man and a woman. God ordained it in Genesis. God created man in his image, and he made Adam and Eve. That's it. And I start looking at that, and then I thought, well, what's the consequences if we go against God's law? And you go to Sodom and Gomorrah, you go to some other places in Scripture where God has destroyed a nation. So I thought, okay, those two are really, really important to God. And I started looking, I said, well, what else is important to God? And I thought, Israel. I started looking at that, and I thought, well, Israel, God has said, I will bless thee that bless thee, I will curse them that curse thee. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is important to God. God is going to destroy, he has destroyed nations over that. He has cursed nations over that. So I thought, those are that's God's 3 deal breakers. And again, there's all kinds of other things, and I always say this, that there's sin, any kind of sin is going to keep us from God's kingdom. Okay, any sin. But there are levels of sin. I think Scripture is very clear about that. I know that that's a theological discussion and debate, but I believe it is. To God has destroyed nations over those 3 things. And if God is going to spare our nation, it's because that we reaffirm marriage, that we reaffirm Israel as being important to God, and that we in our nation, and then lastly that we marriage. I'm missing it. Israel, and then life. And if we don't reaffirm those 3 things, we as a nation, I believe, is in trouble.
Well, that was just interesting, because a couple of years ago I was helping a family research council out and just finding the pastors. So I've sat with probably about 370 some odd pastors. And when I sat with them, there was about 100 pastors and leaders in this. And I said, God has lots of non-negotiables, but there are 3 that are non-negotiable. And so we went through those. And then one of the pastors said, I love what you're saying. So he called me, he said, Sue, I have something for you. And it was in 2020. And so he gave me these stickers, and it said, 2020, vote biblically, God's non-negotiables, life, marriage, and Israel. And he had just used it at a huge a business conference, or with all these men and whatever.
Right.
And one of the pastors said, Sue, Pastor Larry used all your talking points. I said, that's awesome. And so now that's one of our stickers is vote biblically, God's non-negotiables, life, marriage, and Israel. And so we're on the same page.
That's
and
amazing.
But what's really awesome is that when I was, talking with you and your podcast, then I saw behind me there was, the banner that has Philos.
Right.
And that has to do with Israel. So would you tell our audience, well, number one, you go to your website with Eagle Forum is...
Yes. FloridaEagleForum.org.
Okay, so FloridaEagleForum.org, but then you have Philos.
Yes.
And tell our audience about Philos.
Okay, Philos is PhilosActionLeague.org, PhilosActionLeague.org. And Philos Action League is actually part of a parent organization called Philos Project. And Philos is the word in Greek is friend. That's what it actually means, is friend. And it's an organization that it's a Christian organization. I'm going to tell you what the Action League does, so that's the banner that you saw. Their whole objective is to fight anti-Semitism across the nation. And the majority of attacks on religion is specifically against the Jewish people. And this is in the United States. This is not just in the U.S. This is in it's across our nation.
Well, so there's something you were going to say. The statistics were incredible to me.
Yes. Yeah. 50% of all hate crimes are against Jewish people.
Wow.
50% of all hate crimes.
That's
and
incredible.
that's concerning. It's in fact in Florida. About 3 weeks ago, this happened in Florida. Volusia County, there was a lot of anti-Semitism going on, a lot of attacks on Jewish people, and the sheriff actually took a stand in Volusia County. And as a result of that, the Nazis decided that they were going to have a big protest in Volusia County.
That's terrible.
Well, Philo showed up.
That's awesome.
And they showed up with, there's about 70 people showed up. The Nazis didn't show up. And it was a great win. We had a lot of people, even from this row that you're looking at, we had people showing up to that event and to stop that. And and again, I think Christians have I think some of it, they don't know what to do. But we need to get behind our Jewish friends and say, look, we're Christians, and the reason that we are Christians, we are going to support our Jewish people. It's not about faith, it's about God's people.
Yes.
And we need to support them in every way we can.
That's awesome. Well, you know what? It's, when we show up, we win. And
That's
that is
exactly
such
right.
an important thing. We need to show up. We have a book in one of our series. We work with ICEJ, and it says the basis Christian support of Israel. And a lot of times some Christians don't even know why they should support Israel. So we just, we just have to get educated with the truth and the facts. And we just have to show up. And I just really am excited, Randy, that what you're doing, you really are one man. We have a book also, it's called One Man. Does the American man still have what it takes? And you actually have what it takes. I'm so grateful that you are a man that's standing, and we need more men like you, and I appreciate what you do. And so everybody needs to, we always do an action, kind of action step. What is an action step that people can do to do that, that you think that they should do to help you out? Because you need to go to Florida, FloridaEagleForum.org, FloridaEagleForum.org, and sign up. You don't know. I mean, we have and I think we all have that mailing list when we need action. For example, there was a school board that decided that it was okay to have pornographic material in their libraries, and I'm talking about pornographic material that meets the statute of pornography. And again, we showed up, they immediately pulled the books. Wow.
And there was about 500 people we had show up at a school board, which was one of the largest school board show-ups in the state of Florida. But it's because of that. It wasn't because of, 3 or 4 people, said, I've got a problem with this. It's 500 people said, we're not going to tolerate this anymore. But we had a mailing list. I send things out. I send out to other faith leaders, other leaders, and say, I need help. We need help in this particular area. And we do the same. In other words, if we had another organization asking us for help, then I'm going to put it out there. This is the only way we can win. This is not about building your own organization. It's about it's literally about building a kingdom.
Well, we're kingdom builders, not castle builders.
That's dead on.
That's what we need to be doing. So all of you out there, we need to be kingdom builders, not castle builders.
That's right.
Get involved with Florida EagleForum.org. Go to there, sign up, and these are the kind of things that you should be doing. Go to womenimpactingthenation.org, because this is the things that we should be doing instead of watching the boob tube and all these. This is the most important thing to save our republic.
Exactly right.
Randy, thank you so much for being here. And just everybody tune in to our womenimpactingthenation.org, and you'll see our podcast here, get more information. Go to Randy's website, and again, FloridaEagleForum.org, and get involved, because when we show up, we win.
That's
so
right.
God bless you, and we'll see you at the next podcast.